Now is Zvi Shalgo. He is the chairman of the PTL Group. It's a company that manages and supports international companies that have operations in China across multiple industries. Zvi, thank you so much for being with me. It does seem, right, that Israel is increasingly stuck in this tug of war between China and the United States. Mike Pompeo surprised a lot of people, appeared to even visibly surprise Netanyahu when he made that public announcement warning about the Chinese trade and getting too close to China. Is Israel stuck in the middle, and how is it impacting business?
Well, business is always, I would say, many steps ahead.
Okay.
I can say that we are focused on looking on what American firms are doing in China today, because we are, as Israelis, as allies, we're small relatively to those big companies. And I can say that from last April, the survey of 700 American companies in China by AmCham and PwC, 80% of them say they're not planning any kind of move out of China. 60 and 70% of them are saying that they're going to invest more because it's a major market for them.
But they want to invest more, but especially not only because of the trade war, also because of coronavirus and the impact. Are supply chains disrupted? Are business, is staff reduced? How? I mean,
well, people must remember that China is not one thing. It's a multifaceted, complex situation. You can be someone who buys from China or sells into China. You can be so many things, and you have to be very careful in your own niche how to behave. The major thing is the Chinese are opportunistic. Their culture can accept almost everything if all sides are behaving equally and with respect, I would say.
But it seemed like China was on the top burner here. Mm-hmm. They were going to invest perhaps in 5G technology in Israel, build 5G plants. They were going to have a desalination plant, billion-dollar infrastructure contracts, and suddenly it seems to...
They still will. The thing is, if anybody knows the history of China, when they started the reforms, many areas in China are restricted from foreign investment. And this is all the time opening up, and recently they narrowed the list only for 90 specific businesses. China doesn't let foreigners invest in their grid for electricity, in their ports, in their aviation, and in their oil rigs. So you cannot start an oil company in China if you're a foreigner, but you can sell all the equipment to the oil business in China. So they will accept also Israel that comes and say very clearly, in these and these areas and segments, we don't allow foreign investment. So they will not like it, that we will say we don't allow Chinese investment, but others are welcome.
What kind of challenges, new challenges in these times, not only because of the tension, but also because of the impact of coronavirus and other things? I mean, at PTL, what are you hearing from companies? What kinds of...
We have a lot of lessons from this period. Most of them are into how to deal with an impact of such a virus when this is already the third time in 15 years or 16 years that this happens. It means every company should take into consideration that in the next 10 years it's going to happen again. And therefore, you need to have more management and you have to have more people on the ground to be sure that if there is a disconnect physically between headquarters and China, there are good people there to run the show.
Is there an opportunity then? You mentioned, coronaviruses, yes, like SARS before this. Is there a chance now for India or another country to become...
No, definitely not. If you look at it very carefully as a businessman, on the infrastructure, on the education, on engineers, on the risk that you're taking when you start big operations like industry, you need to look forward 10, 20 years and to see stability. And the Chinese government today is, for the last 30, 40 years, creating this stability.
So where do things go from here? Where the U.S., China, publicly they're exchanging threats on economic barbs.
Well,
what's the next?
The pressure is going to continue because China is going to get stronger and stronger economically.
Even though their economy is contracting for the first time in this quarter.
Doesn't matter. They're going to get bigger because their share in the world resources is bigger, their needs are bigger, and their government is more stable and more aggressive than anybody else. And what happens today is mostly in the media and in certain areas where the Americans feel comfortable to push. But I can tell you that the Chinese are fully working in China, full ahead. They're becoming independent in many areas where before they didn't care so much.
Yeah.
So the whole process is actually pushing them to do better.
Zvi, great to have you on Zoom and great to have your expertise on the program. Really interesting discussion with you. Thank you so much.